way. Lester, this is the first time the Supreme Court has ever granted a constitutional right, which it did so when Roe was decided in 1973, and then took it away, a popular right that was widely recognized. So the immediate effect of this will be to uphold the Mississippi law that would ban abortion after 15 weeks. But this also now means that in roughly half the country, abortion is, as of now, or soon will be, illegal. 13 states have what are called trigger laws that were intended to make abortion illegal in those states once the Supreme Court reached this decision. In a few of those states, the law takes effect immediately, and some they have to wait for the state attorney general to certify that this is what the Supreme Court has done. That's 13 states in which abortion will shortly be illegal. And in the rest of the, up to about half the states, they are expected soon to make it illegal. So we're about to become a divided country, Lester, where abortion is legal in about half the states, illegal in half the states. This is a 6-3 decision. It's written by Samuel Alito. We haven't had a chance to track it yet, but you may recall that Justice Alito was the author of the draft opinion that leaked in May that suggested that the Supreme Court was going to overturn Roe v. Wade. But Lester, I have to say this is not, while it is certainly going to be surprising to some, pleasing to others that have worked for this day for many years, it can't be too much of a surprise for three reasons. First of all, the fact that the court agreed to take this case in the first place. This was a decision from lower courts that said, no, you can't strike down abortion that early because it would go against Supreme Court precedents. There was no division among the circuit courts. So why did the Supreme Court take it? The logical conclusion has to be that they took it to overturn Roe. Secondly, what they did in the Texas case when they allowed the Texas law to go into effect that would restrict abortion. And third, the comments that the justices made when the Roe v. Wade case was argued. So Supreme Court overturning Roe. This is one of the most significant historic decisions in modern times, Lester. And now it means that abortion is no longer the law of the land. It's up to the states, and it's about to become illegal in about half of them, Lester.
And Pete, as we watch the emotion, the reaction outside the Supreme Court, let me continue to talk to you about this. You have noted, I think as recently as yesterday, this supermajority at the Supreme Court now really flexing its muscles.
So does he not join that part? Does he dissent from that part?
Okay, Pete, obviously getting some late information. The ruling just coming down just a few minutes ago. A lot to go through. But you can see some of the emotional reaction outside the Supreme Court. The fences have been in place there for a number of days in anticipation of a reaction to this or any other of the decisions handed down this week. Let me go to Maura Barrett right now. She is with the crowds gathered outside the court. Maura?
Lester, tension has been building here between protesters who are both for and against abortion rights this morning. I wanted to bring you into the crowd with me. As you can see, members who are against the right to an abortion, they were just kneeling down, praying. You can see women crying, tears of joy. They said that this is a huge relief and a huge step forward for what they call the right to human life. I want to also note, we saw Marjorie Taylor Greene also walk into the crowd just over my shoulder, just over here. She was also praying with protesters, celebrating the decision. And though I do want to paint a picture, just before the decision came down, there was a police presence here. They had established a police line between both groups of protesters, and then about 5 to 10 minutes before we expected the next decision to be released, the police left the area. And so prior to that, we did see about an even divide of both protesters who are for and against the right to an abortion, almost to the context in which NBC polling showed that Americans support the legalization of or support abortion rights that are against it. And so even though this is a smaller group, a smaller representation of Americans, it was an interesting picture to be painted. But because of the lack of police presence here, it has become a very chaotic situation. But right after the decision came down, we did see this group of people who are against the right to an abortion jumping up and down, sound extremely excited about what they saw today. And then on the flip side, talking to people that were looking to see the right to an abortion protected. One woman saying that she felt like she knew this was coming, but it still felt like an absolute punch, gut punch. Going on to say, she told me in tears that she was very concerned about the fact that women will still be seeking abortions, but they might not be able to get one safely. Lester.
Yeah, the reactions we see there being mirrored likely across the country as news begins to filter out of the Supreme Court ruling in a Mississippi abortion case, but essentially ruling overturning Roe v. Wade.
Because of what we are seeing now, what Pete is reporting on and what we've seen from the justices, this is going to have a big impact in about half the states. So nearly right away, you're going to see 13 states put in place these so-called trigger laws. Those ban nearly all abortions. Some of these laws have no exceptions for rape or incest. Now, these laws were specifically passed by the states on your screen here to go into effect for the instance, if and when the possibility arose from the Supreme Court that Roe would be overturned. That's what we're seeing now. Even Mississippi, which in today's case was fighting for a ban after 15 weeks, has a trigger law prohibiting abortions altogether. So then you take the next bucket of states, 10 states at least, that will severely restrict abortions. They would restrict them after 20 weeks to as few as 6 weeks, in that range. Ohio and Georgia are 2 states with 6-week bans that have been blocked in court. You are likely going to see abortion opponents seek the enforcement of those laws. So if you're a woman who is looking for an abortion, the states you see here in blue, those are states where abortion will probably remain legal, at least through viability. If you are a woman who does not live in one of those states, that would create a hardship if you cannot travel, for example. That is a point that abortion rights advocates have made. Take, for example, a woman who lives in McAllen, Texas here. She'd have to drive 11 and a half hours to the nearest clinic in southern New Mexico. And even so, with some states barely holding on to Democratic control of their legislatures, remember what we have coming up in November, Lester, the midterms, right? Election day could mean a switch in some of these states from abortion accessibility to an outright ban, essentially.
Yeah, Hallie, we feel like we've been here already since it